Hi everyone, I'm Susanna with Hypnosis Haven, and this is a hypno story that I'm making today because I've had some really amazing sessions over the last month or so, and work that I've done on myself has brought the term bitter root up to the surface, and I felt like it's time to share these stories. So, in some of the videos, my more recent videos, I've been talking a lot about IBS. I've had a lot of clients come in for that lately, and I am just amazed to see the results that have been happening with that. And IBS was something that I suffered with a very long time ago, and I did not know that hypnosis could help with it. What happened with me was I had suffered a loss. I suffered a loss in back in the 90s, and I did not grieve it properly. And because I didn't grieve it, I put all of the feelings into my stomach. I stomached it. And instead of coping and going through the grieving process and doing all that, I just did my busy work and I kept focused on work, on my career, and just moving on without grieving the loss. So, early 2000s, I was sick. I had IBS. And there was no medical reason for it, and the doctors couldn't figure out why I had it, and they wanted to do exploratory surgery, which sounded great. To me, it sounded like, wow, these guys really want to get to the bottom of this, no pun intended, and find out what's going on. But luckily, I found an acupuncturist who was able to remedy the IBS. And while we were talking, I shared, which I find that clients do that too, is they come in for something and then we'll just start talking and all of a sudden they'll just say, by the way, and they'll mention something else that actually has a key part to the whole problem, that they don't know it, they don't see it. And I did the same thing. So I mentioned to the acupuncturist, I don't know why. I had suffered a loss and I hadn't grieved it. And so he said, you have a ball of emotions in your stomach that is causing you to feel this, to make you sick. So you need to grieve. You need to get through these emotions and let it go. So, I went through the acupuncture sessions and I was saved from the surgery and the process and all the complications that could have come with that. A few years later, again, and I didn't grieve it, because how do you grieve? The time had passed. I was busy. How do you sit down and then go open up a can of worms for something that happened years ago? Like, I don't know. I didn't want to go there. So years passed. Again, I had another problem. This time it was polycystic ovaries. And they said, well, we're going to have to remove all your ovaries. That's it. Well, we have to take one, but we might as well take the other one. You're never going to be able to have children. And that was quite quite a burden. And once again, I went to go see the acupuncturist, and the acupuncturist said, you really need to deal with these feelings. And I still didn't. I still didn't. And but he did save my illness. He saved me from having the surgery, and I didn't have to get surgery. So yeah, I am a big believer of acupuncture, right? But I can also show and tell you, like, not dealing with your feelings can manifest into medical problems, into symptoms, into disorders, into all kinds of things that you did not need to have. And you wouldn't have if you had dealt with the feelings and, gone through it at the time. And honestly, I didn't deal with it for 13 years. And luckily, I didn't have any more medical issues. But when I got pregnant again, years later, then all those feelings came up. And by then, I had discovered hypnotherapy, and I was able to use hypnotherapy to help me deal with these overwhelming feelings and emotions that I did not know how to handle. And hypnotherapy helped me because, you're living your life, and this event is something that happened in the past, and you just moved on because I guess maybe we're not taught how to deal with this, and you go to talk therapy, and you just talk about it, and how does it make you feel, and then these feelings for 45 minutes, time's up, see you next week, and then you're left with this big you know elephant in the room, and what do you do? Well, with hypnotherapy, it's like you're in a bubble that is created during the session, and the problem comes up, the feelings come up, the emotions, the challenge, the obstacle, whatever it is, it comes up, and it is dealt with and resolved in a session. So I was able to deal with all of the things that I kept ignoring and pushing back and stomaching and internalizing and not dealing with. I was able to help myself with hypnotherapy and getting those things resolved. So now here I am helping clients out with their things. And oh my goodness, the things that clients come to see me for. Uh, I had a client come in who is dealing with phantom limb, and they lost a part of their body and needed to grieve that. And that process was just wow. There's nothing like that deep release, that feeling that comes from knowing, okay, something happened, there was an accident, an incident, something happened, an illness, something that has changed your body, and you're not going to be able to do what you did. Something has changed in you. And how do you deal with that? How do you come to terms with this? Maybe it can be remedied. Maybe you can do these things again in another way. Maybe you can't. So, how do you deal with it if you can't? Did you give yourself closure? How do you give yourself closure for something that we just accept it's a process? Oh, people go in for these surgeries all the time. This happens all the time. It happened to my friend, to my friend's mother, to my friend's mother's neighbor, to this lady at work, or this guy that I used to know, or, it just, these are just procedures that we hear about all the time, and we don't really hear about the afterwards, the coping, the how did you get through it? I I suffered a loss of a child. That's what it was. And how do you deal with that? How do you overcome that? And it was not easy. It was not. I didn't know what to do. And well, then when I got sick and was told I had polycystic ovaries, you see, because that's what I did to myself, is I couldn't handle the possibility of ever going through that again, that I made myself sick. I made myself incapable of having children. So, I mean, the YouTube world, you guys don't know it, but I have 3 children now, and I mean, I have a wonderful life with my 3 kids, and I get to be the mom that I wanted to be, and homeschool and everything, So, living in my wonderful little town, my own practice, everything that I wanted, I got to do. And I overcame that fear, the fear of losing. It's a very vulnerable state to be in, to love and to have that. And when I had my child and I lost my child, it exposed a lot of things that I did not know how to deal with. And now I'm here with all of the years of experience and seeing what happens when you don't deal with your feelings, and knowing personally, and then helping my clients to work through their process and help them deal with the loss of a life, the loss of their abilities, the loss of a body part, the loss that comes with identifying as, I was the CEO of this company, or I was a mother, or I was this, I was a sister. There are so many ways that we lose in life, and we lose a part of ourselves in the process, and then sometimes we just continue going through life not realizing, not acknowledging that loss, and then we look for ways to substitute that loss, or the body will then make yourself sick in a way to avoid it, if that makes sense. But that's the thing. We're dealing with things here that are, I mean, how do you quantify? How do you measure that and say, well, because of the sadness you suffered from the loss of a child, then you then made yourself sick and you got your ovaries to shut down and become polycystic so that you could have them removed and not have to deal with having children again. I mean, what? But that's what happened. So the bitter root, that was the theme of the last, I don't know, I heard that phrase, somebody mentioned it to me a while ago as we were talking about healing the emotions of past relationships and healing the past and just making sure, like when you're going to plant a new garden, you've got to till the soil, you got to bring things up and make sure all of the pollutants, all of the things are out, the weeds that are obvious, but maybe there's something toxic in the soil and you just need to totally take it out and put new earth, new soil, and then grow something wonderful that will be bountiful, that will give you the results that you want. And life changes tremendously because you've released that. So maybe you can't have the big 6x8 garden that you had in mind. Maybe you have to have a 3x4 garden, and maybe you can actually do a vertical garden instead of going out. Maybe you can go up. We find ways to adapt, right? Improvise and adapt to the circumstances. So maybe there was a loss, something that can't be recovered, but there are lessons that can come of it. There is a way of accepting and developing yourself deeply and understanding yourself and appreciating yourself, because you are more than just skin and bones. You are more than just a career, a title, what your business card says you are. You are so much more. But sometimes people don't know how to look within and see that. And maybe they're scared of seeing what they're going to find. And maybe they're scared of reaching for more. A fear of failure, a fear of success, a fear of going beyond what's known, what's the familiar realm. So life pushed me, and the cliche thing would be to say, I pushed back. No, you know what? I went and I hid in my mind, in activities in my career. I had the other life that I wanted, the career where I got to travel and I got to be in hospitality, and the career where I got to live on the islands and beautiful places and have that life, the fine dinings and the restaurants and the concerts and the events and the museums and blah blah blah. What a life. And then I stopped running from that, what I lost. I stopped running and trying to get away from it, and the time came to face the loss and face the feelings that were involved with the loss, and then get back on track and find myself living the life that I had wanted to live but was scared to, because I thought I might fail. It's interesting, but failure can look like many different things. And while I had the awards, the recognition, the certificates, the plaques on the wall, because I succeeded in my career in doing what I was doing and I got the dream jobs and all of that, it was never going to be what I was really wanting but scared to go after. And it wasn't until I dealt with the feelings of fear and dealing with all of the emotions that were involved in the loss that I was able to then just live and go after what I wanted. And sure, it can still be career stuff. I mean, it is. It is. I mean, I did this. I opened up the office. I got the location. I got award-winning practice within a year of opening the office, you know, and life is good on the other side of fear, right? I know we've heard that one before. So that's the hypno story for today. It has to do with clearing out the bitter roots, tilling the soil, letting things go, removing what's toxic, and just allowing it. Allow yourself rest, allow yourself to bring it up, let it go, rest, reevaluate. What do you want? What's on the other side of fear, right? Yeah, all those cliche things you can see on memes and mantras and you know. But sometimes life is going to give you things or take things from you that you might not have anticipated. But then, I mean, it's like, how dare you? But those are the lessons in life. And I guess it's different for everybody, but some people, well, yes, it is different for everybody. And some people have their maps, their lives mapped out. Oh, I remember one client who was just so ooh, fixated in this map. And he very clearly said, it's like I go home every day and I check on my map of where I am and where I need to be and what I can accept into my world and what I cannot. And I am very overwhelmed right now because all of this that's going on, while I like it, it scares me and I can't bring it into my life and I can't do it. And that client had a very challenging time accepting change. It did happen, but we had to work on it gradually because there was so much fear of losing control that the control was just control on top of control on top of control. It was, oh my. So I think, yeah, simplifying life and getting to the place of just letting go and accepting, like, hey, you know, maybe there are some things I need to let go of from my past. So that's it for today, guys. That's the hypno story. I've been wanting to share this for some time because it's like, you know, I'm talking about IBS and I talk about things from personal experience in these hypno stories because I know I have clients come in here who are dealing with things and I can't just say everything all at once. So, okay, here's a hypno story to let you know, hey, you know what? I know exactly what you're going through. You know, losing a child, ooh, it's worst experience of my life, for sure. Yeah. Having IBS, also pretty bad experience. Pretty bad experience. And that was for years. And that was because I didn't deal with the feelings. I didn't grieve. And then being told you're not going to be able to have children. Oh, you know, so all of these things, it's like, wow, one thing that I did not deal with turned into all these other things that brought on all these other things. And I am so grateful that the acupuncturist saved me from those surgeries because then I would have had more things to deal with. I mean, I couldn't imagine what my life would be like if I didn't have my kids. So, you know, I almost missed out on that. So that's it for today's hypno story, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. For more information about me and my practice, you can visit hypnosis-haven.com. And you can schedule a consultation if you want to talk about things and know that you have a bitter root that you want to take out and prepare yourself for a better, more bountiful future. Then let me know. If you want to just share, talk about your story, sure, send me an email. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye.